Hello, my name is Chandra Cost and I'm with Beacons of Light. And today I have Julie with me. And
Hi, I'm Julie Adriani. Very nice to be here, Chandra. Thank you for having me.
oh, thank you.
So any opportunity I get to speak about my spiritual work, I love to take the opportunity because I'm very passionate about my psychic mediumship work. And I'm very passionate about sharing and helping others, lifting them up, because I think that's all part of service.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, my website is Julie Adriani, Spirit Medium. And I also run a very nice group of mediums where you can come to develop your mediumship practice. We have many circles, and that is called Medium Mixer International. It's a really nice group. You'll find so many development circles there. I run one on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central Time, and that's been ongoing over 3 years now. So it takes a lot of dedication, and we have a lot of great people coming to practice, because no matter if you are a working medium or a developing medium, we all need to still practice together and develop ourselves along the way.
Yes, yes, we do.
So along with the mental mediumship, I also run a physical mediumship circle, Windy City Circle, and that has been going for over a year now with 8 dedicated physical medium sitters. And it's wonderful. It's a whole different realm of mediumship, but I love all aspects of mediumship.
Yeah,
Okay.
very interesting.
And I also might add that I am partnering with a friend who's a very, very good medium and psychotherapist, Kim Conway, and we will be teaching starting March 8th. We have a Mediumship 101 mentorship that will be going for 6 months, because I really am strongly connected to helping people learn and the importance of sitting in the power. I feel like so many people, if you don't learn that, in the beginning, and you're not solid with what that really is, and it's, the connection to your soul and your soul senses, that I find a lot of people circle back around, because they still they might be out there and then they find themselves floundering after a while.
Right.
So it's so important to learn that you're sitting with your soul.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that. That starts on March 8th. And if you want information about that, you can look me up on Facebook, Julie Adriani, or on Afterlife Connect, Julie Adriani. I'm under the Chicago Mediums, and I have all my classes and circle information.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is so interesting. I like how you say sitting with your soul. I love that.
Yes, because really, that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
And I feel like so many people, they don't get it, or they get confused that could be, meditation, but it's different.
Right.
It's different. And I have several techniques that I teach with taking away different senses to really understand your soul senses, which are our clairs, right? So our psychic awareness and our psychic senses are so connected with our mediumship. They're the foundation.
Right.
So it all goes, hand in hand, but I love explaining and helping others. I always have, and I love my connection with spirit.
Oh, thank you. You're such a wonderful, giving person. Wow. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. I feel like the more we give, the more we receive, right?
Right. That is true. That's why I'm doing this.
And this is wonderful, because I do interviews as well, and I understand it's that balance of give and take, and seeing a different perspective, right, of the work.
Yes. Yes. So, not to rush you, because I could listen to this all day and we will talk about it later, but do you want to go ahead and talk about your spiritual journey?
Oh, sure.
listeners?
Well, I'm 60 years old and I have been, communicating with spirit since I was about 4. So I objectively saw spirit when I was a young child. And I always saw the same man for the longest time. And actually, I thought it was the boogeyman when I first saw him because it was the same man. He had almost like an Alfred Hitchcock hat, like kind of a derby
Yeah.
hat that curled up. And I always saw his profile at my door. So, it took me a long time to get used to that. He was there, he was a protector. And when I was younger, I spent a lot of time playing by myself. I was the youngest of 5. And so I was always like forgotten, but my family always knew I was different because I had a lot of kinetic energy and I still do.
Right.
So a lot of light activity, flashings, like circuits going down. So I had to learn through the years to control my emotions, because if I get too emotional, electronics will blink out, lights will shut down, or circuits can go off. But when I was younger, my sisters took advantage of that. And I was like, the fun of the neighborhood, they would pull me under the street lights. And when I was directly under the street lights, they would shut down.
Oh, wow.
So then they'd take me back, so it was kind of a joke because people wouldn't believe it. But then when they saw it, they were like, oh. So my family always knew that there was something going on, and they accepted me as I was.
Right.
But I really didn't understand all of it. I do remember getting my first apport, which is a gift from the spirit world that materialized out of thin air. It came down from the ceiling. It was a white, lacy, antique handkerchief. And it landed on my left shoulder as my sister and I were playing like Miss Mary Mac, that game with the hand.
Yeah.
And we thought, wow, where did this come from? But later I learned it was from my grandmother, because I was like feeling bad because we had to come in because our friends that we were playing with outside, the grandparents came over. And I never got to know my grandparents. They had already passed on both sides.
Right.
So I was feeling that hurt, thinking, God, I wish I had a grandma. I wish I had a grandma that would come and bring cookies and cake, and that's when I got that apport.
Oh, wow.
So that was 8 years old.
Wow.
And, of course it was special to me, but I really didn't understand it. But as I got older, more things like that would happen. I would hear voices objectively, comforting me. The one time, and normally, typically, if I'm in danger, that's when I will hear clairaudience very loudly, objectively. So I remember, I think I was 19 because I got married young and I was pregnant with my first daughter. She was born in 1980. So it had to be, I think it was just when 1980, it was like January or February, because I was expecting and I was visiting my mother, my sister, and I lived on one side of the city. I lived on the south side in Chicago, and they lived on the north side. So I had a sports muscle car, and I began to drive home, and then all of a sudden it got real snowy, the snowstorm. So I thought, let me take the streets. I'm not going to take the highway. So if you know anything about Chicago,
Yeah.
if you go across town, it could be a little dangerous in some areas. But I was just worried about sliding all over in this car with the big front end. So I was coming right up to like Madison Avenue, and I heard very loudly, lock your doors. I didn't even realize that the doors weren't locked.
Right.
So I locked my doors, and not even a block later, I got stopped at a red light where I was attacked. by 3 men. One came at one side of the door trying to pull and one on the other. And then one had a brick trying to break my window.
Wow.
And, this was rush hour. There were people everywhere, but thank God Spirit spoke to me
Right.
and I locked those doors
Wow.
because, I could have got killed.
Right.
So there's certain times in my life where I've really heard that clairaudient voice very loud and, objectively, not in my inner ear.
Right.
As sometimes if it's a warning, I hear drums and I actually feel the vibration of the drums in my solar plexus. So imagine my surprise. A few years later, I think I was still in my 20s when Jumanji movie came out. Remember the first one?
Yes.
And I would hear when they would get the warning, I would hear the drums and I was like, oh my God, that's kind of like what I hear.
Wow. Wow.
So, and I feel like that is from my Native American guides because I've always heard those drums, the drumming, whenever I need to be warned or if I know somebody's lying to me, that's my confirmation. I hear them and feel them.
Yeah.
So I just feel like listening to your psychic senses and paying attention is so important.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was in my 20s. And then I lost both parents in my 20s. And I went through feelings of a lot of anxiety because I was really developing quickly. And I knew when my father was going to pass, I knew he was going to get sick. And that's when that anxiety started because I felt like the doom and gloom, but I couldn't understand that it was because of the impending death.
Right.
And so, I learned when my father passed away, right before he passed, I saw who came for him. He sat up in bed and I knew he looked up in the corner of the room and I was able to see. So I knew that they were coming and it was time.
Right.
So, so for me, it wasn't one thing. It's always been, but I knew that I had life contracts. I mean, I'm a mother of 5 children myself.
Yeah.
I got married young. I had children, spaced out. So I always felt like I wanted to raise my children, that was my sacred job first to do, because it just felt that was the most important thing for me.
Right. Yeah.
But so many things and so many aspects of my mediumship played out. We had a lot of phenomena after my father passed, like with record players coming on, playing swing music. And I got to where I had to put the stereo in the garage because it was scaring my children. It was coming on so often, even when it was unplugged.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, you got to go in the garage. Everybody's freaked out,
Yeah.
But so through the years, I've had a lot of phenomena. Let me see, what else can I tell you? I always knew, I had almost like a premonition about moving in a subdivision. So I lived in Chicago all my life and then eventually moved out to a subdivision. Now, before I moved to the subdivision, I kept seeing this horse and carriage image, like almost like from the 1900s, horse and carriage buggy. And I kept wondering, well, what is this image? What are they showing me? And so when I went to see a house, when I was finally ready to make a move, so my kids could be in a better school district, when I went into the subdivision with my realtor and I saw the subdivision sign, it was that horse and carriage.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So, and that house wound up being very, it was very powerful the whole time I lived there. As soon as I walked through the doors and saw the house in the foyer, I knew I said to my realtor, this is it. This is it. And
Yeah.
she said, you didn't even look at the kitchen. And I said, no,
Right.
I know this is it.
Yeah.
So it was just like, clear cognizance, like I just knew.
Right.
So, and in that home is where phenomena blew up for me. My mediumship, lots of communication. It was all over the place. I started going to circles, and that was in 2003. I started going to in-person circles, studying mediumship and all types of phenomena. I had some levitation in circles where things were lifted and, lots and lots of phenomena. We had an intercom there in that house, and the middle of the night, songs would start playing to where, loud. We
Wow.
had a lot of activity in that home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think, and when I moved into that house, I went there once before we moved in with just some boxes with some kitchen supplies, and I was all by myself, and I heard a woman's voice saying, welcome. And, and I went out in the garage and I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, I am the only one here. And so nobody was there, but it was this female voice connecting with me.
Right.
And so it was really the big beginning of me realizing I had this gift or, ability, and that I needed to brush it up and learn all I could. But, in the early 2000s, where could you go?
Right.
We barely had just started having internet.
Yeah.
I know I was always looking to, the Arthur Findlay College back then, but I still had, kids, and there's no way that I could go to England. I never had the financial support or the support of a husband, that wanted or was happy about my ability. That was always a problem.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if you've had that.
Yes, I do. I did. Yeah.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
connect very much with that.
Yes. So that's another thing I want to speak on with our classes. We know this. So we understand that when you start learning or start practicing your psychic mediumship, you really need support because a lot of things change in your daily life.
Right.
People fall away. And that's why we wanted to make it a full 6 months. So we are also there to support them.
Right. That is
And my partner, Kim, her being a psychotherapist, we can really go into that and really just help them, because I feel that is what prevents a lot of people from developing further.
right. You are right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. What else can I say? So I know myself, like you, studied with James Van Praagh.
Yes.
I was third year mediumship graduate. And so I did a little mentoring with his level 2s. And I've also had a mentorship for a year with Lynn Probert. She's beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful energy. And she taught me a lot. Actually helped me, business wise, because there's so many aspects, right? Once you start practicing. And then I also did a 1-year mentorship so far. And I say so far because we're always developing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a working medium, you still need someone, you need that home base to go to.
Right.
I feel like no matter how long you keep practicing or you're working, you still need to be developing.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I've grown so much and learned from everyone. And I've also taken workshops and things. So I understand, how it feels to be a student. And I see every Thursday in my open development classes, well, not classes, our circle, people need support. You
Right.
need a loving, non-judgmental environment. So that's why I wanted to found the Media Mixer International, because it's a safe place. It's mediums. We do a lot of free teaching. I have other, well-known mediums come in and they speak on different subjects. And there are several wonderful circles there. And if I personally know and have been to the circles there, so they're very safe and they're very good. Like I always encourage if you're the sitter, the recipient, to just say yes, no, or I don't know. So you give spirit and the developing medium an opportunity to say, because a lot of people, they like to spill the beans.
Yeah, they
And
do.
it's not helpful, not for learning,
Right.
not for in your development. It's just, it takes away from the authenticity.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited. Oh, and let me mention too. So every Monday on Facebook, my Facebook page, Julie Adreani, I do what I call Mystic Mondays. I started this in September during the lockdowns because so many people I knew, had lost their jobs, needed advice. So that's strictly psychic and tarot readings.
Wow.
And that's every Monday, free readings, 10 a.m. Central Time. And it also allows me to practice speed readings because and people might say, well, that's just psychic. But I believe psychic work is so important because those are the senses that are in our souls. You have to develop all your clairs. The better you are at your psychic readings, the stronger your mediumship will be.
Right.
Because you are using those same aspects of your soul with your mediumship.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they misinterpret or, they don't realize. So I always encourage like psychic sit-ups, practice, timeline, reading people, maybe psychically from when they were younger to where they are today. It's wonderful practice and it strengthens your mediumship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? Do you feel, because some people try to say, well, that's only psychic, but it's very important.
I think it is important. And I don't ever want to limit my growth or anything. So I'm willing to try anything once for sure. But yeah,
Well,
I think it's
yes.
important. The psychic is important.
Yes, because you are expanding your soul experience, because all of these psychic senses are part of our soul. And that's how we ignite and, we reach that level of connection and vibration and with connection with our mediumship, because you have to expand your soul.
Right. And I found even during doing like a mediumship reading, you're still doing a psychic reading to the person that you're giving the reading to because you're feeling them and you can feel how much they grieve and hurting. And so I think that would be important to strengthen.
It is, it can strengthen, especially with the one-on-one readings, but you have to be able to be aware when you're reading psychically and when you're reading mediumistically.
Right.
And I always like to, explain that.
Yes.
Especially if it's a one-on-one.
Right.
But it definitely enhances your mediumship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strengthens, the power of our souls.
Yeah, and I could see where doing the psychic you would know more when you are going out of mediumship into psychic. That would really help. I can understand that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'll just tell you another little story about how I decided to go public and do,
Yeah, that would be great.
professional readings for people, because there was something personal that happened in my life with me putting off and not trusting what I was getting, because I have a lot of precognizant dreams.
Yes.
Precognition, it's big with me. I was seeing physical things, photo frames turning, physically being turned. And for me, I knew that I needed to turn somebody around.
Right.
And, you know, I kept listening to other people trying to explain it away because I was worried about it. And I knew in my soul, these were things I needed to, you know, adhere and, you know, make a difference. And I didn't.
Right.
And, you know, it was a lot of catastrophic things that happened. So, you know, everything wound up okay, but a big lesson. And I promised Spirit, I promised my own soul, and I made a vow that my life would be of service and I would never not trust again.
Right.
So because I really feel when you're getting strong signs and premonitions and things like that, you have to learn to trust your soul and what it's telling you and what you're getting.
Right.
It's very important.
Yeah.
I know it's one of the hardest things, and it's the biggest struggle, right, for most mediums.
Yeah, it is.
And I would love to help people get there before there's a catastrophe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you blame yourself, and then you know, you're like, oh my God, I should have listened.
Right.
Always listen to your soul. Always listen to what you're getting in your gut, because that is real.
Well, thank you. I need to hear that. And I'm sure everybody listening to this will need to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Do you have any things that you do before you practice your mediumship or your psychic or go into a circle or?
Well, okay. So I do sit in the power a lot. I have in the last couple of years, like probably for the last 8 years, I've done it regularly. Now, did I always know that I was sitting in the power? No, I didn't understand that that's how it could be coined. When I heard Mavis Patilla say, it's like sitting with God, then it hit me. You know, sometimes you have to go and hear a few other people say it, and they say it in a way that will resonate with you.
Right. Yeah.
Because, and that's the biggest thing I see, like, what is sitting in the power? And sitting in the power for me is now like sitting with my own soul, connecting with God.
Yeah.
And listening. So then I came to understand, well, gosh, I've been doing this all the time, you know, a couple times a week, because I went there for nourishment almost.
Yeah.
You know, so I do sit in the power a couple times a week. I do sit, like I said, and do circle work where I'm sitting in the power with the group.
Right.
So as far as other things, I like to listen to music. If I'm going to do a reading, I like movement, music. I can get in the zone very quickly now, you know, just.
Right.
I feel like if you've got a good foundation of sitting in the power, you don't really need much ritual. There's nothing like that I do. I just make sure I have my water. I make sure that I'm grounded and I run my energy regularly.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't hurt if you listen to music. For me, that helps raise my vibration. Anything that will help raise your vibration,
Right.
whatever you like. If it's sitting with your animal, you know, petting your dog or your cat for a few minutes, whatever raises your vibration.
Right. For those that don't know what running your energies is, do you want to go over that maybe? Or
well, there's a couple different ways. I mean, you can pull the energy, the earth energy up, run your chakra energy.
Yep.
Okay. There's also some people like to, before they do a reading, you know, get your mind clear and pull the white light energy through your crown and then from your root chakra up and blend it in your heart energy. So
Right.
you're connecting heart to heart with people.
Right.
So there's a couple ways of doing it, but I definitely clear myself. And I also do energy healing. I am an energy healer and a trance healer. So I do a lot of work with a friend of mine from California. So it's very important to clear your energy. And that's another thing I teach now. We are so powerful, and me with all my energy, it makes sense that, these hands are so magnetic, and everybody's are.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm 60 and I don't take any medicine. You can really heal yourself with the power. And again, this goes the power of our own soul.
Right. Yes.
It's something we all have. And I actually have a video on Facebook, I think from September, where I did an energy healing talk. It goes on about an hour. So I took a few subjects that I thought were very important: how to heal grief and loss, which 2020 was huge with loss.
Yeah.
Also, how to, heal headaches, people who have had a lot of heartache.
Right.
It's very, very easy. And believe me, I wouldn't say easy if it wasn't. It's just learning, how to use your hands and the movement of the energy. So it's a lot of ancient Chinese medicine, but I use certain techniques that are very simple. Even people with mobility issues can do it while on the couch, and it's very healing. And that I do that. I call it the electric slide. A lot of people call it the zipper, but by using your hand and from your groin all the way up and shaking off the energy. Some people call it the zipper. I call it the electric slide because everything's moving up and out.
Yeah, I like that.
So, whatever works for you. I always encourage people to try different ways, because what resonates for me might not resonate for you, but I've practiced a lot of different ways. So I definitely clear my energy with energy healing before and after readings and before and after healings.
Yeah, that's important. You don't want to kick that around.
Right, because we're so empathetic. I mean, when I was younger, I would be, getting emotional for no reason at all. And I would be like, this isn't mine. I have no reason to feel like this, but I was picking up from other people and I didn't realize it. And I didn't have a teacher to teach me anything,
Yeah.
So people today are so very lucky that we're living in these times of easy internet connections, and there's so many helpful mediums teaching out there online.
Yeah.
A lot of people worry about, well, is in person, better? Well, yes. And a lot of people ask me though, or they want to wait until they can come and get a reading in person. But I feel fortunate that I learned online, because to me, I can connect just like that through the, internet. I just need to see your eyes.
Yeah.
Or, I can do it on the phone too. And I feel like when you take away your sight or something else, then
your other senses,
hearing the voice, everything else expands. So I feel like our senses and our clairs compensate when one is taken away.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Got to do as well. I shouldn't say that. I did one time a circle in person. Everything I've done has been online. So interesting.
Well, my first circle was in person in the Chicago area, and it was in a small shop. And, after hours is where we would come and sit. And if I wouldn't have been in that circle, I would have never gotten probably levitation.
Right.
Or never saw it, So, of course, in-person circles are the best way.
Right.
They are the best way, because especially if you're sitting for anything physical. Just the act of getting together though, and the dedication, because it takes a lot of dedication, like every Tuesday night where we sit for my physical mediumship, it comes around really often.
Yeah,
Every time you turn around, it's Tuesday or
I
it's
know.
Monday for my, so you really have to be dedicated
Yeah,
because, you have to say no. I mean, while everybody's been in lockdown, it hasn't been a problem, but like for the Thursday group, I mean, to come every Thursday, it takes a lot of dedication because you have to say no to things.
right.
People
Yeah,
are going for drinks after work, it's Thursday. I can't, I have this but the dedication pays off.
it does. Yeah,
It
yeah,
really does.
yeah. Wow. I can't wait for circles in person.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And I know right now I'm in Arizona and the energy is just wild and,
Oh,
the energy in the mountains. So I can't wait to get out there and be able to do
yeah,
some circles in person again myself.
yeah. I think everybody is looking forward to that. Is there any, well, you've already mentioned the people that have helped you, which is wonderful, but is there any advice that you want to give people that we might not have covered or anything at all?
I would like to say, I feel like my guides are my greatest teacher.
Yeah,
Okay. And I didn't even know all of them for so many years. I knew my grandmother was guiding me. I knew there was this gentleman who still is in our circle every Tuesday with a hat. So trust what you're getting. Allow, yourself the time to get to know them and feel into their energy and work with them because they're wonderful teachers, but the spirit world is your number one teacher.
yeah,
And if you stay grounded and honest and, you always have that zest for learning, they're going to work with you in the most amazing ways.
yeah. They're amazing. Mine are amazing.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things, people want to know their names or who they are.
Yeah,
You'll get shown, I
yeah,
had a grandmother from 8 generations back, and I didn't even know my mother's mother. So I had a woman coming with red hair from Scotland. I didn't even know I had Scottish blood in me. And she gave all the information I needed to find her in ancestry.com with my grandfather, who was from Germany, and my great 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 grandmother from Scotland. And everything that I was given, I found. So
yeah.
she gave me evidence.
Wow.
And it's amazing. It was so expanding, but I didn't get that information until I was, you know, 20 some odd years later,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's all in divine timing.
It is. I'm in my 50s and the last few years I've just really blossomed. And yeah, so everything you've been saying is a mirror to my life. I love it. Do you want to go over your service again and in depth or whatever we haven't covered?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so on my website, Julie Adreani Spirit Medium, there are different services. So I do psychic mediumship readings. I also do healings. I feel like healing work is the highest form of mediumship. And I discovered I was a healer, with the energy and with my guides because my guides came in and doctors working with me. So I do trance healings. And I'm also a life coach. So
Wow.
it's kind of, I love this work. Anything I can do to help somebody. There's so many people hurting, and all those three services to me, I mean, are just so needed and so important in this world. And now I'm teaching. So that's so exciting for me. And like I said, our Mediumship 101 mentorship, myself and Kim Conway, starts March 8th. It's going to be every Monday night, 7 to 9.
Okay.
And we're really looking forward to it. We already have a great group put together, but there's still room for more people. If you feel called, know that you will be supported. And I'm very passionate about learning the basics of connection and maintaining, sitting in the power, maintaining your power. Because you can't just sit in the power 5 or 10 minutes and expect to be able to hold your power in a reading for 45.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
it's all part of development, and
Right.
an expansion of your own soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like mediumship is a byproduct of you expanding and getting to know your own soul.
Right. That's a great explanation.
Yeah, it's just, it's all tiered and you get there. You eventually get there, but it's a process. There's no quick pass. You have to do the work. You have to do the healing work on yourself.
Yeah.
So, but it's wonderful work. And what could be better than working on our own souls? Because that's something nobody can ever take away from you.
Right. Yeah. I like that. And then you all, the Afterlife Connects you mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, I'm on a site afterlifeconnect.com, and that's a group, and I was vetted there. Mediums are all vetted, and I have all my classes, things that I'm doing will be posted there as well. I mean, it's current, it's upbeat. Like I'm still doing a soul summit. That was the whole month of February. So I'm teaching mediumship this Saturday to that group. I taught an Angel 101 class because I'm very connected to the angels and their work.
Right.
Yeah. I've always loved angels and always heard them. So I do teach those classes as well. So there's a lot on the Afterlife Connect, and just type in Julie Adreani, or if you go to my website, there's links.
Okay. And we'll put that in the link for this too. And then your Mystic Mondays, did we cover that at length? I don't remember.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Anybody can log on to my timeline, Julie Adreani on Facebook on Monday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Time. And it's just like a nice community where I always try to say a prayer. I have a list for people to put their names down if they need healing, because on Mondays I do a group healing afterwards.
Yeah.
And people can come and get free mini psychic and card readings.
Wow.
So it's a very nice supportive group.
Right.
And like I said, it's free. And I feel like it sets the tone for your week.
Yeah. Yeah. Mondays can be hard.
Yeah. They're like manic Mondays,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if you watch the replay, you'll get something from it. And I feel like there's always really good messages. So even if the message wasn't for you, it resonates with a lot of people, or for your week.
Yeah. I find a lot of times that a lot of the stuff, when you find it, it's meant for you. It's timeless.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover that we may not have touched on? I'm looking at what we talked about and
trying to think. I love what I do, and I would encourage everybody to try to connect and deepen their connection with their own soul.
Yeah.
Soul work is so important. You never know what all your gifts are until you let your soul expand and ignite.
Yeah.
So I just love helping people do that. And if there's anybody who would like to find a circle, 95% of the circles on the Media Mixer are free to join. They're development circles. So there's people from all over in different time zones that meet together.
Right.
And there's also a lot of good educational material that's on there for free.
Right. And that's Medium Mixer International, right?
Yeah, it's a Facebook group.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a Facebook group, and just ask to join. And if you're a medium, I'll approve you. And I encourage everyone. It's a great group and very supportive.
Yeah. And that's important, supportive.
Yes, supportive, and it helps people build their confidence. You know,
Yeah.
that's
No,
how we build our confidence, by
yeah.
doing the work and being supported.
Yeah. And to have that non-judgmental community is so important. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so proud because there's so many people, they support, they encourage, I can see in the comments, they're like, even in the mystical Mondays, people can say something, or, they're not feeling bad, or they're not feeling their best, but there's always so much encouragement coming from the other members.
Right.
So that's so important in this world, right?
It is. Yeah. Life's too hard to be ugly.
Yeah, yeah, because there's a lot of hard lessons that we've come here to learn.
Right.
And you keep wondering, well, why, certain people will say, well, wow, this has happened to me before. This has happened before. Why does this keep circling around? It's because this is what you came here to learn.
Right.
People I know that have had like almost the same marital problem, have had 2 or 3 different times that something might have happened in their marriage. So how are you reacting? Are you reacting? Are you dealing with it? This is important. When something keeps happening, ding, 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 it's like the light bulb's going off. This is
Yeah.
one of your soul contracts, your lesson
Right.
that you came here to learn.
Right.
So, do things differently so you don't have to keep having it circle around again.
Right. I like that. A lot of
Yeah.
people will really learn from that.
Yeah, it's like, it's not it's almost like if you look at everything as a lesson or a blessing, get the judgment out of the way.
Right.
Or poor me. It's here, it's happening to you because this is something that you need to deal with. This is something you have to learn. It's a lesson. So look at the whole picture and don't judge it, but work through it. Work through your emotion, let it flow through you so you can get past it.
Right.
Because I feel like if you don't get past that emotion, it's just going to happen again down the line. So deal with it, learn from it, and move on.
Right. Yeah.
And I know that's hard to do, but if we look at everybody as the divine and see the divinity in everybody and not judgmentally, I think people will live a happier life. You don't have to agree with people's lifestyles or their politics or how they raise their children.
Right.
See the God in everybody. See the divine. We are all souls.
Right.
So that's my motto. That's how I try to live, and I try to teach.
Yeah.
So if I have to say one thing, I just want to say, try to see the divine in everybody.
I like that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I
Yeah.
love the Beacon of Light. I love that name.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a friend of mine gave me a reading, and that's what I was told. So it's divinely given.
Isn't that wonderful?
It
So
is.
you trusted that message and you went with it. So.
Yeah, I did and do. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you, Chandra. It was my pleasure,
Yeah.
and good luck with your interviews and spreading the good news. And
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.